Welcome aboard, Guardians. On today's flight, we're going to be discussing the newest weekly update from March 21st. It actually has some pretty cool questions and answers within the mail sack. First off, we start Jailbot. Will the Septagon be making a return in Destiny as a way to distinguish other Bungie players from the masses? Bungie responds, perhaps, perhaps not. It's one of those decisions we'll save until very end of our journey. Maybe we don't want to be distinguished from other players. It could very well be that we'll want to move among you. Just one more Guardian with a mission unfolding before them. Or perhaps you're talking about the Bungie community. While we're not talking about the myriad ways you'll be able to distinguish yourself as a loyal, active member of a community, we're absolutely committed to giving you ways to show all the other suckers just how much Bungie loves you, baby. Now, lots of you might be wondering what the Septagon actually is. The reason I say this is because I actually didn't know, and I had to ask other members of Team Destiny. But actually, what it is another name for the Bungie community. On Bungie.net, it's where people gather for a community meeting place, where members and fans of Bungie share ideas, thoughts, and questions about the community. You might recognize the logo shown here. It definitely makes its way around. But DJ's response is quite unique. Jailbot asks if we'll be able to distinguish ourselves on Bungie.net again. He says perhaps or perhaps not. He wants to merge us all into one and make us feel like one unified family. He wants us to feel like one more Guardian with the mission unfolding in our story. Except he does say if you're talking about the Bungie community, while we're not talking about the myriad ways you'll be able to distinguish yourself as a loyal and active member of our community, we're absolutely committed to giving you the ways to show. So in other words, yes, the community and the website is staying with all the forums connected. But is there going to be another way for us to connect with each other besides the mobile app that we already know of? What he's getting at is we have to wait and see, just like everything else. This next question becomes quite intriguing to me, from I'm Steel Assassin. Will there be any support specializations for Guardians like healing or damage buffs for allies? Do we have a support player in our midst? You and I, birds of a feather, my good man, says Deej. He goes on to say, while some Guardians are built to be more aggressive than others, it could be said that every player of Destiny can fill a support role. That's the essence of teamwork, after all. Our designers have conceived some intriguing ways to reward you for fighting alongside your friends, instead of just nearby them. It may surprise you to learn that you've seen the mechanics in action, but we've yet to see anyone call attention to them. That's not Glimmer, David. Now I love this question so much. Healing or damage buffs for allies? Within the new PS4 share trailer, we get all Destiny information and gameplay. Within one of the clips in the PS4 share button commercial, we see what looks to be Glimmer. Now the reason I say this is still Glimmer is because we've actually seen it beside the word before, while the player was about to use the currency on the Thunderlord. What Bungie is actually talking about here is the stuff that came out of the loot crate when they finished the raid. After reviving his friend, he immediately got some of that, which is probably a buff that you pick up. We then have a smaller question that won't take long to answer, but is still full of badassery. Spiky Demon asks, is there an element of stealth system in the game? If we told you that you could render yourself invisible and strike with a blade sheathed in the Traveler's Light, would that be stealthy enough for you? This is where the whole Destiny community can come together and say a big whopping, frick yes it would. The next question comes from Who Knows, asking, how will testers be treated differently than the rest of the community? Deej responds, do you mean beta testers? I've seen a couple of special rewards that have been set aside for people who play the game before it launches, officially. If you're brave enough to be amongst the first to fight, the world will know about it. And what this obviously is saying is if you have a beta code and you're one of the people to be inside the beta playing, then everybody, when the game actually releases, will know that you were there, to experience it firsthand, before everybody else. This might be a piece of gear, maybe a special weapon, maybe a different material for all your armor. But all I care about is Bungie is treating us well, and not letting us go unnoticed for the things we have done. Now there's only one more question I'm going to cover, and it's really small. It's from Spawn. What happens when your entire fire team dies? Bungie simply responds, the darkness consumes you. But what do I think this means? We've heard of the dead box, which is rumored to be where you go when you die and you're waiting to be revived by a fellow guardian. But if everybody is there and nobody is there to revive you, where do you go? Perhaps what they mean when the darkness consumes you is you go back to the city, losing all your progress that you just earned, even if you're close to the end. That's it for today's news and breakdown. But stay tuned for after the landing for more information. Thank you guys for flying along. If you don't follow me on Twitter already, make sure to give that a check. I stay up to date with all the little tidbits of information about Destiny that isn't big enough for video. Also, whenever I upload, I post on Twitter. So if you want to stay up to date with all my videos and newest content, make sure to follow me there. Take care.